Hello, everybody, and welcome to Check It Out, the monthly show about what's happening at the Bethel Park Public Library. I'm Mary Mullen.
I'm Elaine Volpe.
And Miss Elaine and I are here today to tell you what's happening at the library in November. All right.
We are.
Halloween is upon us, right? Just in a couple days.
It is. Yes. Do you have your costume picked out, Mary?
I do not.
I do not either. I'm running a little behind this month on finding.
How about your boys?
Like I said, running behind.
Running behind.
I have to go out and get costumes this week, so we'll see.
Okay.
And it's funny because I remember growing up, I always had homemade costumes. My mother made all 4 of ours, but I haven't made a homemade costume yet.
Well,
so it's always that last minute run to the Halloween store.
It's a little tough to be a working mom and be whipping up the Halloween costumes, but your kids enjoy trick-or-treating?
They do. Well, Jerry is a 6th grader now, middle school, so he said he's not trick-or-treating this year. Fine by me. He's going to stay home and pass out candy.
Oh, that's nice.
And Robert and I will go door to door. Yep.
Okay, very good. So, well, I happen to like November. I think a lot of people get very cranky and sad in November because, of course, we change the clocks, leaves are off the trees. But I happen to like Thanksgiving very much because it's family and food.
Absolutely.
And it's a great holiday.
Doesn't get better than that, does it?
Doesn't. But I thought before we talked about what's happening at the library in November, I would talk about a very significant event for the President of the United States. It's an annual event for him that occurs every year in November. And do you know what that is?
I do because you told me.
Okay.
Shall we share with our viewers?
Yes, we are going to talk about the annual Presidential Turkey Pardon Ceremony.
So, yeah, you screwed it up anyway. The annual Turkey Pardoning Ceremony. Got it.
And this usually occurs, I think, well, I'm not sure about the exact timing, but a day or two before Thanksgiving Day. And it's also the day for the President, of course, to remember Thanksgiving and talk about its value and significance for Americans. But every year since 1947, the National Turkey Federation has sent a turkey to the White House for an annual ceremony. Now, up to about 1989, these turkeys, however, were not pardoned. They were eaten. All right. But starting in 1989 with President George Herbert Walker Bush, the turkeys were given a reprieve. They were pardoned. They were no longer eaten. And this has resulted in some interesting and funny kinds of things that I thought our viewers would kind of enjoy. In 1990, when President Bush, the elder President Bush, had his turkey pardoning ceremony, he reassured his audience that a terrible he sought to allay the fears of his audience that a terrible fate awaited the turkey presented him. And he said, "We've decided to spare him. He will not be subjected to questions from the Washington Press Corps." So now President Clinton, at his first turkey pardoning ceremony, said this was going to be really easy for him. He was not worried because I have been around turkeys all my life. Okay, well, of course, he sort of said, oops. So he was quick to add, I didn't mean it like that. So now, one may ask this question, what if the turkeys are not being eaten anymore? What happens to the turkeys? Well,
that's a valid question.
That's a good question. What happens to these turkeys? Well, for a while they were going to a petting zoo in Virginia, although it had the name of the Frying Pan Park. I got a little worried about that. I'm not so sure. Frying Pan Park, okay. Then in about around 2004, the turkeys then were sent to Disneyland, and they were the grand marshals for the Disneyland annual Thanksgiving parade. But Disneyland is no longer taking the turkeys, and starting last year, the 2 turkeys that were pardoned, whose names were Apple and Cider, very appropriate for the year, were pardoned by President Obama with his daughters. And they are now happily living in Mount Vernon, George Washington's home, which is very nice because I visit. Have you ever been there?
No, I have not.
I visited there for the first time this past September, and it's a lovely place. So I'm sure Apple and Cider are very happy there because it is lovely.
Good.
But we got a little bit of information from President Obama, who asked a good question because I didn't know the answer to this question. Now, do you know what you call that little thing that hangs underneath their beaks?
I always forget. Because I want to say the gizzard, and it's not the gizzard. Does it start with a G, though?
No, it starts with a W.
A waddler.
A wattle.
A wattle.
Well, President Obama said, well, what is this thing? I mean, what is the function of this? And actually, it is a way for the turkey to dissipate heat. So, and President Obama commented, I guess we're glad we have sweat glands. So it is a turkey form of a sweat gland. So a little bit of information about that.
Yes.
So
my brother always has the trivial, at the Thanksgiving dinner table, he'll always come up with these interesting facts, with these very, bizarre facts, and I'm going to use that one.
Okay,
I'm going to one-up him this year.
I
don't think he knows that.
I bet he does. No, I did not know that
Thanksgiving
either.
factoid.
Do you want to do a little bit of Thanksgiving trivia?
Yes.
Let's do some Thanksgiving
more.
trivia. All right, let's see. Let's ask this question. What utensils did the Pilgrims eat with at the first Thanksgiving? What did they use to eat their Thanksgiving dinner?
I don't know what.
They used their hands, obviously, a spoon and a knife, no forks. There were no forks used at that time. So
interesting. I wonder when the fork was invented.
I don't know. We'll have to find out. Now, I found this little trivia on the internet, and I have to say I'm a little skeptical about some of these. You never know
how reliable
they were. But this question is interesting. I'm not sure about this one. Where did the male tom turkey get its name? So a male turkey is referred to as a tom. Mm-hmm. Where did this come from?
Stumped me again. I have no clue.
Okay, well, according to this, it came from Benjamin Franklin, who named it after Thomas Jefferson when he would not allow it to be the national bird. I'm not sure about that. I wonder. I do know that Benjamin Franklin wanted the turkey to be designated as a national bird, and it was vetoed. Of course, it is.
So that could be true.
It could be true. I don't know. Anyway, I was thinking, somebody said, if the eagle is obviously our national bird, and just thinking about the moon landing, the landing vehicle was the eagle. Mm-hmm. So instead of the eagle has landed, it would have been the turkey has landed. So maybe things all worked out for the best. So let's see what else. How can a turkey drown when it's raining?
How can a turkey drown when it's raining? Mm-hmm. Got me again. Don't know.
According to this, it's simply by looking up. I don't know about that one. No.
I don't know about that one either.
Me either. Okay. What vegetable did the Pilgrims have available for Thanksgiving but did not use because they thought it was poisonous?
Carrots?
Potatoes.
Is that right?
Well, I don't know. We're not sure, but there were no mashed potatoes at the first Thanksgiving.
Interesting.
Yeah, very good. Do turkeys have heart attacks?
I'm going to say yes.
Well, actually, they do, because the U.S. Air Force found that out when they were testing to break the sound barrier. After they finally did succeed at this, they found whole fields of turkeys.
Oh my goodness!
That were dead, full of dead turkeys. So it's interesting.
Wow. Well, how did they determine it was a heart attack? I guess
I don't know. Maybe they did autopsies. I don't know.
I guess that would.
Okay. What gender of turkey says gobble gobble?
Male.
The male. And apparently only seasonally and when going to sleep.
Really?
Well, as I say, take all this with a grain of salt on your turkey. Huh. Okay. All right. Now this is a fun question. How high must a cranberry bounce before it is harvested?
I don't know.
4 inches. And I had visions of people out in the cranberry box bouncing their cranberries. All right. How big is Plymouth Rock today? How would you think? What would you compare it to in size to something?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question.
Well, actually,
Yeah,
it's the size of a car engine, and it's cracked over the years, and it's getting smaller and smaller. So that's what the size of the Plymouth Rock is at the moment.
Size of the car engine.
All right. Well, that's enough of frivolity, right?
That was neat. I might have to borrow that again for my Thanksgiving dinner.
Okay. Well, let's talk about what's happening at the library. What's happening in the children's department in November?
Well, we have a National Gaming Day coming up on November 12th. From 12 to 4 p.m. and November 12th is a Saturday. And this is for everybody, and it's all different kinds of games. Now, I'm a board game lover. Mm-hmm. Who doesn't love a good board game? Mm-hmm. What's your favorite? Scrabble.
Scrabble. I like Scrabble.
For a Scrabble kind of girl.
And Monopoly. I used to play Monopoly with my brother.
Monopoly.
I hate Monopoly.
I will never play that with my sons.
Okay.
Anything else but Monopoly. I don't know. It just seems to drag on forever, and I don't enjoy it. I get bored of it. But anyway, so we're going to have a ton of board games available this day. So bring your family, bring your friends. And if board games aren't your thing, come anyway, because we are going to have the Wii set up. With some Wii games, including Guitar Hero. So something for everyone. Right. And it's kind of a drop-in type of thing. I mean, we are asking you to register so we have an idea of how many people are coming. But you don't have to stay the entire time. You can drop in anytime between 12 and 4. So lots of good games will be on hand. We also have BP's Got Talent. That's on Saturday, November 11th at 6 p.m. And we've done this in the past. It's a talent show open to everybody, and I always love seeing everybody's unique, gifts. I mean, everybody has a different talent. So whether you tell jokes, or you dance, or you sing, or you... whatever it may be.
Do you have any comedians? Anyone does any comedy?
We haven't had a comedian as of yet. Wow. So opening it up to everybody out there. If you're a comedian, let's hear your jokes. Bring it on over. We've had a magician, a little magic show. We've had a lot of dancers, a lot of singers, very talented ones. We've had musicians. Okay. People bring their instruments to play, and I'm trying to think what else. We had someone, and I believe he plays. This might have been a couple years ago. Do tricks on his yo-yo. A lot of really cool things. I was amazed. And he taught himself, watching tutorials on YouTube or just getting books out of the library. So that was a neat one.
How about a juggler? Anybody out there a juggler?
That would be a good one.
That would be a good one. Because, there are a lot of books and online tutorials.
You can teach yourself.
You could teach yourself. It's not too late.
And you have time to start practicing.
That's
right. So this is for everybody again, and we'd love to for you to share your talent with us. Saturday, November 11th. Put pizzazz in your popcorn. Now, popcorn is a healthy snack.
Yes, it is.
It's one of the healthy, and delicious snacks out there. Like, kids, I think, really enjoy it, and they don't realize that it's healthy while they're eating it. And there are a lot of different things you can do to popcorn, right? Of course, we've drizzled chocolate on popcorn. At least we have at our house. Chocolate-covered popcorn. And they sell these powders now and things, these shake. You could sprinkle the cheddar cheese flavoring. But Miss Lynn's going to teach you how to get even more creative with your popcorn and, kind of vary it up a little bit, spice it up a little bit. Okay. So if you are a popcorn lover, come to that program on Tuesday, November 15th at 6 p.m. and please register again. And, of course, you'll get to sample what you make.
I was going to say,
of course.
Of course.
Our annual gingerbread workshop is coming up Saturday, December 3rd from 12 to 4 p.m. Again, this is kind of like just a drop-in anytime. We provide the iced tea cartons. That's what we use as a base. But we ask everyone to bring a can of icing and a bag of candy to share. And we'll also provide the graham crackers. So we'll supply cartons and graham crackers. You bring icing and candy. And it's a great time. It's a great way to get into the holiday spirit. We'll have the holiday music playing and just a nice time to get together. And
it is a nice project. I did that one time with Miss Lynn at one of the senior residences here in Bethel Park.
Yes,
and we had a really
This has been
nice
going
time.
Strong for years. I mean, before I even started at the library, and I've been here 8 years, I think. They've been doing this gingerbread house workshop. So it's a tradition. Make us part of your tradition. Come out on Saturday, December 3rd. Then we have our play coming up.
Yes, we do.
This is another tradition.
Yes, we do.
Not as long-standing. How long have we been doing this? Maybe 5 or 6 years?
Oh, maybe.
6 years?
Maybe longer. I don't know. It
could be, huh? Miss Singh started it way back when, and I'm big on tradition, so I wanted to carry it on. So this is our annual holiday play where your favorite librarians star in it. So last year it was Mother Goose's holiday party.
Right.
Correct?
That's right.
Was that
That's
last
right.
year's?
Was that last year?
No, that was 2 years ago. Last year was the Christmas around
the
world.
world. Yes.
This year it's Granny Goodman's Christmas, starring Granny Goodman.
Granny Goodman. Okay.
Mary Helen, a.k.a. Granny Goodman. And we look forward to seeing you there. The library, again, puts on the play, but this year it's being held at the Bethel Park Community Center, and we'll remind you of that when you register. And you can start registering in a couple weeks. The performance will be at 2 p.m. over there, and we'll start seating people around 1:45 or so.
Okay.
So there'll be some ornament making afterwards. You can stay and do a little craft. Of course, we'll have light refreshments as always. And again, a neat and free thing to do to get into the holiday spirit and to start, preparing for.
That's a Sunday, right? Which
it is.
Which is different. In the past,
that's true. That's good to point out. We've usually had it on Saturdays. This year we're holding it on a Sunday because that's when the stage was available.
Okay.
So Sunday, December 11th at 2 p.m.
Okay, great. I got to brush up on my lines.
Yes, we're going to start practicing. And then I'm just going to mention, and we'll give more details later on, of course, on next month's show, but we are going to run a winter reading club again. And this year's theme is Chill Out at the Library.
Okay.
So there's no better time to read, right? Haha.
That's a great
I love
it is.
my puns.
That's a great one.
But it's only going to run for 4 weeks, the whole entire month of January. We're going to have early bird registration, however, in December. So we'll kind of have like a little party, if you will, on December 15th. From 5 to 8 p.m. Again, you don't have to stay the entire time. You can come, sign up, get the information, check out some books to get started on your reading, but we'll also have some crafts available for you that night and some hot chocolate and some cookies to warm up with. So, more details to come, but Chill Out at the Library will run the month of January.
That sounds great.
Okay.
You said the cookies.
Cookies and hot cocoa,
Hot
right?
cocoa,
So that
reading.
should bring them in. And, we do it, summer reading is so big. This is the same idea, but on a smaller scale. But there will be prizes. We're going to go back to the raffle baskets. So every book you read will earn you a raffle ticket. And there's no limit. You can read 20 books and get 20 raffle tickets. And you'll put them in for whatever basket you'd like to win. We're going to raffle off 3 baskets per week.
Great.
Okay? But if you report once a week, every time you report, and we hope that you would do it weekly, you'll get something just for coming in to report. So
That sounds great.
something to look forward to.
Well, it sounds like fun stuff. As always,
Absolutely.
fun programs that you have going on in the children's stuff.
We try. We have fun with them. So
Great. All right. Well, let me take a couple minutes to talk about some of the adult programming that will be happening here in the library in November. On Sunday, November the 6th at 6 p.m., we have our monthly Movies for the Mind. And this month, last month we saw a terrific movie. I highly recommend it. It was very dark. It was called Beautiful, which is Biutiful. I think I didn't even spell it right then. But I decided we needed something a little more lighthearted this month, and we're seeing a movie called Get Low, which stars Robert Duvall, who's one of my favorite actors, Bill Murray, and Sissy Spacek. And this is the story. It's set in the Depression-era Tennessee time. And Duvall plays a man named Felix Bush, and he is sort of this cantankerous hermit. And he decides one day he's going to leave his farm and come into town and plan his funeral. Okay, now that doesn't sound
too uplifting to me, Mary.
Doesn't sound too lighthearted yet, but it's going to be a unique kind of funeral because he wants it to happen now while he's still alive.
Oh.
Because he wants to hear what people would
about
have
him.
said about him when he was dead. He wants to hear it. So, and it's kind of...
Now, who plays this Felix Bush? Robert Duvall
Robert
or Bill
Duvall.
Murray? Okay.
No, Robert Duvall. Bill Murray, I think, is the local undertaker. And Sissy Spacek is sort of one of his love interests from the past. So, anyway, so this is the story of his attempts to get a funeral party where he can hear what people have to say. So that's Sunday, November the 6th at 6 p.m. On Tuesday, November 15th at 1 o'clock, we have a program called Finishing Well. And you've probably heard about living wills. Right? Okay. And I think most of us are familiar with a living will. But this is a unique kind of living will. It's called Five Wishes, and it talks in this document. You express your personal, emotional, spiritual, and medical wishes for the end of life. And this program is presented by Community Life, which is an organization that helps older adults stay in their homes as they age. And if you've been thinking about a living will, this is one that will let you kind of broaden it beyond just what happens to you medically, but how you want to be cared for in many ways. So that's Tuesday, November the 15th at 1 o'clock. Of course, the next day, Wednesday, November the 16th in the evening at 7, our director, Christine McIntosh, will have her story time for adults. So we have story time for adults too.
Yeah.
On Thursday, November the 17th at 7 p.m., we have another movie screening. This is a unique movie. It has a title that maybe people will say, I don't know if I want to see this. It's called 9,000 Needles. 9,000 Needles, sort of a scary kind of title. This is an award-winning documentary about alternative medicine, Chinese medicine, including acupuncture. And Ellen Ona, who is a licensed acupuncturist and a Chinese herbalist, will be here. So you're going to see the movie with Ellen. And this movie really talks about the differences between Western and Chinese medicine. And then she's going to be available for a question and answer period to talk about some of the differences and to help people learn how they can use Chinese medicine, ancient Chinese medicine, for modern healing. That's Thursday evening, November 17th at 7 p.m. The Adlerian Society of Western Pennsylvania will be presenting another free workshop, and all of their workshops are free, and they're designed to offer people practical solutions for life's challenges. And this topic this month will be dealing with issues of anxiety, which many of us experience. It is a good topic. It is a good topic because this is sort of anxious times.
I'd have to say very timely.
It is very timely.
A lot of people get stressed and very anxious around the holidays.
Yes, around the holidays, and of course the economy has got us all a little anxious. So this program is free, and continuing education credits will be available. There is a charge to process the continuing education credits, but the workshop itself is free. That's Saturday, November 19th at 10 a.m. And then at the end of the month, we have an event. This is the Apprise Medicare Open Enrollment Event. And Apprise is a state health insurance agency, and they counsel people on when they have to make decisions about their Medicare insurance. And this year the open enrollment period has changed. This usually always occurs at this time of the year. This year it's already started, and it started October 15th and will run through December 7th. And this is the time when people can make changes to their Medicare coverage. And of course, this is a very complex topic, very difficult for people to navigate through all the different choices. So Apprise counselors will be here on November 30th from 1:30 to 4:30 in the afternoon, and people can schedule one-on-one appointments, individual appointments with an Apprise counselor. And the counselor then can answer any of their questions about the coverage. And of course, people are a little more anxious than usual because, of course, we have this UPMC Highmark impasse going on right now. So again, that open enrollment event will be November 30th from 1:30 to 4:30 p.m. We have a guest today scheduled to be on our show. Her name is Rachel Steigerwalt from Family Services of Western Pennsylvania, and these are the people that are bringing us this event. So I want everyone to stay tuned because Rachel and I are going to talk a little bit more about this. Now, the scheduling of the appointments, though, has to come through Apprise. And so we have, if you call the library, we can give you the phone number. And Rachel and I, of course, will talk about contact information, but you schedule with them. And then looking again, we're also going to look ahead a little bit to December. On Friday, December the 9th at 11 o'clock in the morning, we're going to have a holiday tea.
Yay. I know everyone had a wonderful time at the last tea we just
That's what I
hosted.
heard. I heard fun was had by
Yes,
all at the haunted Halloween hat tea.
Yes,
So
and there was quite some hats to...
And I saw the lovely little favors, the little
Yes.
tea bags with
Yes,
little
it was
favors.
very
So if you want to get into the holiday spirit, join us on Friday, December the 9th at 11 o'clock in the library. Please register for that program, so we want to make sure we have enough tea and enough goodies for you to enjoy that day. So, and of course, as always, all of our regular programs will be occurring in November, and you can always check on the website to get more information about that. Don't forget the 2012 entertainment books.
Still on sale.
Still on sale. The cost is $30, and $15 of the price does go back to the library. So, and one other thing I wanted to mention. Actually, I've got two other things. Sorry. Well, let me mention very quickly one other program. This is not a program here at the library, but somebody brought this to my attention. I think people might be interested in a kind of a celebration of Veterans Day, which is another holiday coming up in November. And this program is called A Privilege and Pleasure to Serve. And the presenter is a retired I'm going to get that out. Retired sergeant from the United States Air Force, and he spent about 13 years serving on the flight crew of Air Force One. So I bet he has some very interesting stories to share with his audience. And this is a free program. It's going to be held at the Hamilton Presbyterian Church here in Bethel Park, and that's the church right across this from Cool Springs, right on Baptist Road, right on the corner of Baptist and Hamilton. And that is November the 8th at 1 o'clock, and they're going to have refreshments and an interesting program. So
Excellent.
And finally, too, to let everyone know that now people can download books to their Kindle. In the past,
we had a lot of questions, a lot of inquiries about that.
A lot of inquiries about that. In the past, you were not, Amazon did not permit people to download downloadable books to their e-readers, but that now we are up and running. Our program is called Overdrive, and there is a link on our website to that. So if you already have your Kindle, or maybe there'll be one underneath your Christmas tree this year, you will be able to download free books right onto your Kindle. So I'm not going to say anything more about that because I'm not too knowledgeable about all of this downloading stuff.
Right, and I'm not really either, but reference librarians are always on hand.
Somebody
Rob is kind of our
right, and I understand expert. Yes, we should have a shout out to Rob.
That's right. He's out there in Hawaii enjoying his honeymoon.
For all of our viewers, if you are a regular patron at the library, if you've attended any of our computer classes, Rob Caulthaler, you know Rob. He's on our reference staff, and Rob is in Hawaii celebrating his wedding. He is on his honeymoon. So I think we should give a shout out.
Congratulations, Rob.
Congratulations, Rob, and Mia, his wife. So I'm sure they're having a wonderful...
Oh, I'm sure.
Wonderful
they're in Hawaii. How could they not,
How
right?
could they not?
10 days in Hawaii. So he will be back next week, I guess. Next Wednesday he will return.
Yes. Yeah.
So next time you see him, make sure you congratulate him.
Right. And you can check with Rob about...
yeah, he can help you with
your downloading to your e-reader. So, so as always, if you need any more information about anything that's going on at the library, you can
click on our website,
give us a call,
or come on in person.
Come on in person. Please stay tuned for my conversation with Rachel Steigerwalt from Family Services of Western Pennsylvania. We're going to talk a little bit more about the Medicare open enrollment event. And Miss Elaine and I will be back next month. So long.
See you then.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Check It Out. I'm here today with our very special guest. This is Rachel Steigerwalt from Family Services of Western Pennsylvania. And Rachel and I are going to have a conversation today. We're going to talk about an event that we're going to be hosting here at the library. And we're going to talk about some of the other services and programs that Family Services provides. So let's start out. And I know there are so many programs and services available because I was on the website and I took a kind of a quick look at some of it, and there's a lot going on with your organization. So maybe in a very general way you can tell our audience what does Family Services of Western Pennsylvania do?
Sure. Thanks so much for having me here.
I'm glad to have you.
As you said, Family Services does a lot. Our agency has over 400 employees and about 38 different lines of programming. We like to say we have something for every generation of the family. And the older adults programs we'll be talking more about was an extension of that's relatively new to the organization. We joined with Interfaith Volunteer Caregivers about 5 years ago and have added other programming for seniors since then. But in addition, we provide a range of behavioral health services, drug and alcohol treatment, residential programs for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities, a lot of counseling resources. Probably something for everybody.
That was the impression I got. I was just, as I said, I was reading the list of the programs, and I thought, this is you have a very busy organization doing, and it's very diverse kind of programming too. You know, addressing a lot of different kinds of needs. What is your position?
Well, I work in the Community Partnerships Division, and I coordinate the programs for older adults.
Okay.
Within our division, we have a lot going on too. We have the Ways to Work transportation loan program, where we hook up working families with reliable vehicles. We provide low-interest loans for people with bad credit, so we can help them purchase a used vehicle or repair the car they already have, hoping that'll make a difference in the kind of job they're able to get, maybe something closer to home with better hours, reduce the time they spend in transit, also give them more options for childcare and being able to get to and from their children's activities.
I can see that's probably very important at this particular time now, with the economy being in the state that it's in, and finding a job is even more difficult now than it was several years ago. So anything that makes it easier for people to get to a place of employment, I'm sure, is very, very important.
Right. The phones have been ringing off the hook for that.
I'm not surprised to hear that. I'm not surprised to hear that. Let's talk a little bit about the event here at the library. Okay. And that is on November 30th, which is a Wednesday. And this is a prize Medicare open enrollment event, right?
Right.
Okay. And of course, there's an important change this year, right? I mean, the open enrollment is always at this time of the year. Correct.
Oh, it's earlier this year.
But this year it is earlier, and it started earlier and it ends earlier.
Right. So the open enrollment period is actually a little bit longer than in past years, but it started a month early. So we're in open enrollment now. It began October 15th, and it'll end on December 7th. And the choices that Medicare beneficiaries make this fall will be for their plan that provides coverage starting January 1st of the new year.
Okay. And I know, I'm sure any year consumers have a lot of questions. Just when I look at some of the information, I find it very confusing. You know, there are many options, right? There are many choices, many paths people can go. And of course, people may be a little more anxious this year because of the UPMC Highmark situation. And you had something to kind of reassure these people who may be wondering about that, how it may impact them.
Right. For Medicare beneficiaries, you can count on whichever plan you pick during open enrollment being there for you all year long. You know, your deal will not change. It's a contract that you enter into with the insurance provider, so you will have the same coverage, the same doctors available. Everything is consistent from January 1st through the end of 2012. What happens after that is a mystery for all of us,
right.
But for Medicare folks, it's really the same as other years because you choose a new coverage even if you think you want to keep the same plan you had last year, we encourage everybody to do that checkup during open enrollment season to make sure that their doctors are in their plan, the prescriptions they take are covered by their plan, and that they understand what they're looking at in terms of monthly premiums, co-pays for their prescriptions, and other services that they're likely to use during the year.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about APRISE. What is APRISE?
APRISE is the State Health Insurance Assistance Program. There is an APRISE for every county in Pennsylvania, and there's a similar service all across the country. Here in Allegheny County, APRISE is a program operated by Family Services in partnership with our local area agency on aging. APRISE recruits volunteers and trains them to sit down one-on-one with Medicare beneficiaries and explain their coverage options, help people find a plan that's affordable and comprehensive for them. We're able to screen people for additional benefits like PACE or PACENet, so they can get some help with their prescription costs or their monthly premiums. It's a great service. We can assist people who are uninsured or underinsured, but our primary target is folks who are Medicare eligible, either as they're turning 65, people who are already older than that, and folks who are qualifying due to disability as well.
Let's talk a little bit about PACE and PACENet, because maybe there are people that are not aware of these programs. So what does PACE and PACENet cover?
PACE and PACENet are the two levels of assistance for the statewide pharmaceutical assistance program. They're great because they will get you lower co-pays at the pharmacy.
Okay.
They can work in partnership with the Medicare plan, and PACE and PACENet will be there through the donut hole. So people who are able to take advantage of PACE don't have to worry about that coverage gap in their Part D. PACE doesn't have any resource guidelines. It's based on someone's monthly income and whether they've been a resident of Pennsylvania for the past 90 days. And it's available for people age 65 and older.
Okay. I know there's always so much. There are many benefits that are available, and I think sometimes people are not aware of the benefits that they may qualify for and that they should take advantage of. Now, on November 30th, on that day when the APRISE counselors are here, what will happen when people schedule an appointment? What will happen at that point?
When people schedule an appointment, they're reserving a time slot. Usually it takes 30 minutes or so to sit down one-on-one with one of our trained counselors. It's great if folks can bring along a list of the prescriptions that they currently take, if they know who their doctors are. Usually you can ask your primary care physician to print out a list of your prescriptions. But we're okay if people just want to clear out their medicine cabinet, bring the actual bottles along with them. What we'll do is sit down with a consumer and have them fill out a pre-screening form. Start to ask some questions about, are you happy with the Medicare plan you currently have, if you've already got one? What's most important? Are you looking to keep your co-pays low because you go to the doctor every month? Do you see the doctors less frequently, and maybe it's more important to keep a plan that has a low monthly premium? How often do you expect to utilize the services? It's very helpful if people have started to think through that stuff on their own at home, but we'll get them thinking along those lines in our pre-screening, kind of informational interview. From there, they'll move over to a counseling station where one of our volunteers will be set up with a laptop computer, and we actually enter in the list of all the prescriptions somebody takes so we can double check and make sure that they're covered in the plan that the person's interested in. We'll let them know what the co-pays and tiers of coverage would be for each of those drugs. We can check on whether the pharmacy they like to use is part of the plan's network. We can make sure that the doctors they like are in their plan. And we can lay out several options side by side. We're using the Medicare Part D online plan finder, so we'll have a live internet connection and do everything in real time. We can print out results and have some discussion with the client. We don't tell you what to do, we just lay out the information and kind of reduce the spectrum too, because there's so many plans out there. I think that the flip side of consumer choice is that you're overwhelmed and just
Right.
inundated by the information. So we can bring it down to 2 or 3 good options, and
And
let
then you
make an informed
then
decision.
you right then
from
you
there.
you pick from you can make, as you say, an informed decision. The final decision is the one that you make based on the information that they've obtained through the counseling. This sounds terrific to me.
And it's not a sales pitch at all. We actually aren't selling anything.
Right.
We're just here to provide an objective opinion about what all's out there. We don't represent any of the companies, but we can tell you about all of the plans.
Okay, well, this is great. And again, let's go over the nitty gritty. It is Wednesday, November the 30th, 1:30 to 4:30.
And you sign up ahead of time by
Right.
calling a prize.
You call a prize, and the number I've got the number down here somewhere.
I've got it.
Okay, I know you know it.
You
Okay.
can call us at 412-661-1438. It's fine if you leave a voicemail. Just spell your name clearly and leave a number for us to call you back, and we'll get you signed up for an appointment slot. We help many people over the phone too, so if someone's not able to make it here on November 30th, we may be able to do the counseling over the telephone.
Mhm.
But at this time of year, we make a real effort to be out in the communities, because it's nicer to see people face to face,
Right.
and there's no lag time then while you're waiting for the computer to load and
Mhm.
making chit chat on
Right.
the phone. It's much less awkward.
Mhm.
And one of our favorite times of year, we've got a great core of student volunteers. You might see some of our helpers wearing their lab coats. They're pharmacy grad students from the University of Pittsburgh, so you can bring them all of your prescription questions.
Oh, how wonderful!
they're-
What a great opportunity for the students too.
It's been a wonderful service learning partnership for us. We're in
Okay.
our 4th or 5th year now.
That's great. That's great. It gives them kind of a jump start onto what they will be doing when they're out in the working world. So okay. Well, I am looking forward to this day. So again. If why don't you repeat the number one more time? That's always a good idea.
Sure. The prize number for Allegheny County is 412-661-1438. If you want to reach our statewide number where you can get referred to the other counties and their local programs, you can call toll-free 1-800-783-7067.
And there are events actually all through the county, right?
Mhm.
I saw that in the senior news.
Yeah, we've got the listing in the October, and it'll be reprinted in November's
Okay.
issue of the Senior News.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit more about some of the other programs, other services that are available for older adults. So we'll talk about the Interfaith Volunteer Caregiver Program.
Thanks. We go by IVC for short because we know interfaith volunteer caregivers can be a mouthful. IVC is a faith in action service that matches up volunteers with older adults in their local community for occasional assistance, things like grocery shopping, rides to doctor appointments. We make friendly visits too. Sometimes social isolation is doing as much harm as, say, not having a ride to
Right.
your doctor appointment or being able to get healthy food from the grocery store. Those are our 3 most popular services. We also have volunteers available to do some correspondence assistance, sit down with somebody, help them sort through their mail, figure out what's junk and what needs attention. For cases where someone has low vision or maybe a mobility impairment, we can write out the checks and make sure that their bills are organized. This winter, we're going to get our snow shoveling teams out.
Is that part of the program too? Do you have people that will shovel snow?
We need more people who will shovel snow. We get a lot of requests.
I bet you do.
And the matchmaking process works best once we've reached a critical mass. So we have enough volunteers who step forward neighborhood by neighborhood that it's a really convenient and flexible opportunity for them to get to know some of their senior neighbors better. Most of our volunteers tell us that they feel they're getting more than they give.
Oh, I think that's true of any volunteer, certainly any volunteer opportunity I've participated in. You do. It is such a rewarding and satisfying activity. On your snow shoveling, is there? Can you have younger volunteers?
Oh, we would love younger volunteers. For people who want to volunteer on their own, one-on-one, 18 is the minimum age.
Okay.
We are very appreciative when families say, I'd love to bring my kids along. We've had even babies go on friendly visits, and that really brightens the seniors' day.
Oh, I was going to say how wonderful.
They love to see younger people.
They do. And that would be a great opportunity if you have a student who perhaps needs a service project, needs some service hours. What a wonderful way of getting your service hours, especially if they can help somebody right in their neighborhood.
It's great for me to be here today talking in Bethel Park. We're serving all of Allegheny County, and it really helps when somebody calls us to say, I'd love to do something in my neighborhood, and we can give some tips on other groups to get connected to or ways to get started. We would love to hear from scout troops and fellowship groups. We're working now with about 40 different congregations that have formally partnered with IVC. I think Baldwin Community United Methodist may be the closest one to here. And that's been a great partnership because we've been able to offer some volunteer training at their location instead of asking people to truck over to our office in East Liberty. I would love to take advantage of the library's meeting space for volunteer orientations too.
Well, maybe this conversation will inspire some other congregations or other organizations to give you a call.
That would be fantastic.
That would be fantastic. And also, I know you do a Safety for Seniors program, and I know many years ago you were here in the library. You did this here at the library, very long time ago. It was when I first started here. And this is also a terrific program.
Safety for Seniors is their free service, and everything we do is free. And I always forget to say that. It's such a huge
I was just that was in the back of my mind. I have to remember because I know that it's all free. It was like, don't forget, it's free. It's free.
All you have to do is be an Allegheny County resident, age 60 or older, and if we have a volunteer available, we will match you up. For Safety for Seniors, we send volunteers out in teams, usually 2, sometimes 3 people, to do a home visit. We train them for things to look for with respect to fire and fall hazards. So they'll walk room by room through somebody's house, making safety recommendations as they go. And we give them a whole kit of safety supplies to take with them. That's usually the best icebreaker. Strangers show up on your door and they say, well, we brought you some stuff. Is there someplace we could sit down? We'll show you what we brought and ask you some questions and get started. The kit includes a flashlight, a bath mat, nightlight, some other miscellaneous items. And as a result of the safety check, we can connect people with our professional contractor for grab bars in their bathroom or staircase railings. And again, that's at no charge to the participant.
And smoke detectors, do they?
Oh yeah, we replace smoke detectors and change batteries too.
Okay, and that might be important for somebody who has forgotten to check the battery. Maybe their smoke detector is no longer operational,
or it might be just in a spot that they can't get to anymore. We're sensitive to that when we find good locations for new smoke alarms. Our rule of thumb is generally, if it looks like it's more than 10 years old, we'll put a new one up instead. Here's a trivia question for you. I heard you doing your Thanksgiving bits before. What's a good way to remember when you should be checking your smoke alarm battery?
I've heard this.
It comes up twice a year.
Twice a year. Oh, when we change our clocks.
Exactly.
Right.
So that's pretty soon.
Yes, that's right.
Change your batteries when you change your clocks.
Change your clocks. And I think this kind of programming is really helpful. One of the services that we have every year is we have tax aid from AARP. And what I have discovered in the Bethel Park area is that there are a lot of older adults who are living on their own. They come into the library for tax help, and they tell me stories about themselves. And I have been very surprised at the numbers of people, and we're talking about people that are sometimes in their 90s. They're living alone in their homes, and I've been very surprised by the number. The number is increasing. Every year I see more and more people. And for many of them, and they come in, some of them are great shape, terrific. very healthy, but others are a little more frail. And I get a little concerned and worried about somebody who is on their own in their home. So your program is wonderful to have somebody provide a visit, to companionship, look at the house to see potential problems that might be occurring. And I know often in conversations with older adults, they don't like to ask for help. I found that to be true. I don't know about you.
I think that's very true. We don't get a whole lot of requests for friendly visiting from the seniors themselves. Maybe a concerned family member, particularly if they're a caregiver who's long distance, would come home for the holidays and then call us and say, my mom seemed kind of down. I think if you could find a friendly visitor, let me know, and then I can sell her on the idea. Because it's very humbling to say, I'm lonely, I could use a friend to talk to. But we've seen so many of our relationships between volunteers and care receivers blossom like that. It may be easier to ask for a ride or a trip to the store or something other than the visit. But the social interaction is really at the heart of what we do. Say it's not just a ride, it's a relationship. And we're all about keeping people safe and independent in their own homes, as long as they choose to be there.
Right, and I think that's very important too. I think that's what most of us, as we age, we want to be at home. We want to stay home. We don't want to have to move to a long-term care facility. And there is a lot of help out there. This is, to me, it's a very viable option if you're willing to pick the phone up and make the phone call to your organization and many other organizations that will make it happen for you. So I want to encourage all of you out there, don't be afraid to ask for help, because I think when you're proactive about what you want for your life, you're better off. You're much better off. And I agree about the socialization. We have a homebound delivery service here in the library, and I know while our homebound patrons welcome the library materials they receive, what's really important is the visit from the person who delivers the books. And I always say that our delivery person, her name is Pat, brings smiles, hugs, and books. So, and those things are all so important to all of us, no matter what stage of life we're in. So, let's talk for a couple minutes. In all of our conversation, you have mentioned that without volunteers, I don't think a lot would be happening with your group. And I know that I've had a number of people, as I told you, my peers, contemporaries, people in their late 50s, early 60s, I call them the young retirees, new retirees, who are looking for volunteer opportunities. So why don't we talk a little bit about volunteering for your organization?
That sounds great. More than half of our volunteers now are seniors, and I love that we have the seniors helping seniors aspect of the program, but I don't want to discourage anybody else who might be interested. We're a very flexible service opportunity. We're not asking for a minimum time commitment. Our orientation is just a 1.5 hours overview of what we do and how we at IBC can support the volunteers in the field. We really value that volunteers are our eyes and ears, and they let us know if someone's situation has changed, if maybe someone looks like they're struggling with their health or taking care of things that we don't necessarily know about. So as additional needs arise, the volunteers are very useful in letting us know so we can provide some information and assistance back to the senior. Volunteers can get involved by visiting our Open Your Heart to a Senior website. Open Your Heart to a Senior is a volunteer recruitment initiative supported by United Way, and it brings together our IBC program and a similar Faith in Action service based at North Hills Community Outreach. So together we're serving all of Allegheny County. Every neighborhood could use some helpers, and we're looking for people who like to drive, either drive people to appointments or drive to the store. We go grocery shopping with or for somebody. A lot of times our seniors want to go along to the grocery store. It's a social hub.
Right.
It could be their big outing of the day.
Off to the market district. That sounds like fun to me.
Or down to the waterfront or
Sure.
South Hills Village or something. But we also have volunteers who would just take a list along and then deliver the groceries back to the person who may be homebound and not able to get out so easily. We do the friendly visiting. Like I said, you could be working and still find time to do this on your days off or on the weekend. You can take your kids along with you. You can send your kids to shovel snow in the winter. Or we get requests too for things like leaf raking or some help with gardening or grass cutting over the summer. It's a lot of little things from the volunteer standpoint, but it can add up to make a big difference in whether someone's able to stay in their own home.
Is there anything you would like to talk about that we haven't covered so far?
Just a little more about Open Your Heart to a Senior.
Okay.
It's been a great campaign so far. We started towards the end of 2009, and last year we had over 500 people inquire about volunteering with us. And we
That is wonderful.
able to convert that to over 300 new trained, active volunteers across the county. And we're a staff of 2 full-time people and 4 part-time workers at IVC, and we have over 500 trained volunteers. So you were right when you said we can't do this without volunteer power behind the program.
That number doesn't surprise me because I think I'm a sort of a transplanted Pittsburgher, if I put it in that way. I grew up in New Jersey, but people in this area are very generous, very giving, and very warm and eager to help. So I'm not surprised, but I can tell you can always use more, right?
Oh yeah, and that's true for our prize program too. We have 1 full-time staff member there. Bill's our Medicare expert, and then it's several dozen volunteers who make the rest of that program happen. We love retirees who can help with the prize. Because that one is more of a daytime opportunity. We ask folks to come to our office or one of our satellite locations. We've got some counselors based at Jefferson Regional Medical Center who answer phones and visit with beneficiaries who have Medicare questions there. We provide all the training.
I was going to say, do you feel that you're a prize volunteer? Could be anybody, or do you think it's better if somebody comes to this with a certain background related to healthcare?
I wouldn't say that's required. Some of our greatest volunteers have had a healthcare orientation. We love retired nurses in both IVC and the Prize program. They're no-nonsense ladies generally and aren't intimidated by the medical terminology.
Right.
So they've been fantastic. We have some Prize volunteers that moonlight with the volunteer income tax preparation too. And our busy season does not conflict with theirs. So
yes, I was going to say to do both. Yes,
we love teachers also because I think one of the best ways to get a feel for how well you understand Medicare for yourself is try to explain it to somebody
else. Yes,
and you get lots of hands-on practice doing that with as an Prize volunteer.
All right. This has been a great conversation, and I especially want to thank Rachel because you came from East Liberty on the T, right?
It is possible.
It is possible.
It was an adventure for me today. I rode the busway downtown and then picked up the Blue Line.
Oh, and I'm so appreciative of how hard you worked to come out here today and to share with our viewers all of the wonderful services and programs that are available. So please do not hesitate to call. Do you want to give them, and with some contact information again, how you can be reached?
Sure. Now, IVC and Prize are at the same office in East Liberty. Having mentioned the travel logistics, I hope people will take advantage of us coming to you for the event on November 30th. You can reach IVC by calling 412-345-7420, and that's the best number to call if you're interested in getting services or volunteering with one of our programs.
All right. Thanks again, Rachel, for being our guest today.
Thanks so much. It's been fun.
Great. And Miss Elaine and I will be back next month. So long.